I'm Anil Kumar, and in this video we'll practice how to find x and y intercepts and slope from the given linear equation. The question here is, state the x-intercept, y-intercept and the slope of the graph of each linear equation. We have two of them and both are in decimal numbers. So we'll also see how to work with decimal numbers. 0.4x minus 0.2y equals to 36. We'll adopt two different ways of working. One, we could say get rid of decimals. We can say get rid of decimals. Now since we have 1/10th place, we can multiply each term by 10, right? So if I times 10, the first equation, so what I do is I'm doing times 10, is it okay? The whole equation, times 10, 0.4x minus 0.2y equals to 3.6. Is it okay? Then what do we get? We basically get 10 times 0.4 is 4. So we get 4x minus 2y equals to 36. Do you see that? Now once you do that, all of a sudden decimals are gone and you see a very familiar equation. So I suggest this is a nice way of working with equations when they are given in decimals, right? Now let's continue and find x and y intercepts. So we'll do both x and y intercepts. What is x-intercept? X-intercept is a point where y equals to 0 and y-intercept is a point where x equals to 0. This is important. So let's find what these points are. If I equate y equals to 0 in my equation, which is now this one, so now we'll actually work with this equation. Okay. I'm equating y 0 here. I get 4x equals to 36. Let me write down 4x equals to 36. So x is equals to 36 divided by 4 and that is 9. So we have an x-intercept. The coordinates of x-intercept should be 9 is the x value, 0 is the y value. Is that correct? Let's find the y-intercept. X is 0. Kind of hide it. What are you left with? Minus 2y equals to 36. So y equals to 36 divided by minus 2, which is minus 18. So the coordinates will be 0 for x, minus 18 for y. Perfect. Right? So we have both x and y intercepts. Now what? Now we need to find slope. So let's go for slope. To find slope, we have to rearrange the equation in y equals to mx plus b form. So let's do it. Rearrange means taking y to one side, all others on the other side. Since we have negative 2y, I prefer to write this as 4x minus 36 equals to 2y. You're getting my point. So what I did was, I moved this to the right side and 36 to the left side. Minus became positive. This was positive, became minus. Now to isolate, I have to divide by 2. Correct? So if I divide this by 2, I get y equals to, dividing each by 2, 2x minus 18. How did I get that? I divided everything by 2. Do you see that? So it's only to explain you. So once I divide, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 2x. 36 divided by 2 minus 18. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we get y equals to 2x minus 18. You get an idea. From here, we can read what slope is. Slope is coefficient of x. So we have to write equation as y equals to mx plus b, where m is the slope, right? So here, let me write down slope now. So we have slope m equals to 2. Perfect. Which is this value? Which is this value? So that is how these things are related. So I hope these steps are clear, you can now pause the video and write down x and y intercepts as well as slope for this particular equation. Okay, correct. Now let's do with this. This time my approach is not to get rid with decimals. Sometimes you have to work with decimals. You may or may not like it, right? So we'll work with decimals. We have 0.25x minus 0.05y equals to 1. So let's find x and y intercepts. So first, let's begin with x-intercept. X-intercept really means y equals to 0. Okay. So when we equate y0, I get 0.25x minus 0 equals to 1. That is 0. So we have x as equals to 1 divided by 0.25. Think 0.25 is a quarter, 1/4, right? So you will get this as equal to 4. 1 divided by 0.25. Let's use the calculator, check it out. 1 divided by 0.25 is 4. Do you see that? It's a quarter. So sometimes decimals are not bad to work with. So we have an x-intercept. Let me write down this value as coordinate point 4, 0, correct? Now let's find the y-intercept. Let me divide this page. Y-intercept is when x is 0. So we are going slow, but I hope you understand the concept. X is 0 means hide this, find y. So let's do it. So we have 0 minus 0.05y equals to 1. So from here, what is y equals to? Y equals to 1 divided by minus 0.05. Now, you could also get rid of decimals by multiplying by powers of 10. Now, 2 decimal places means 100. So we got 100 over 5, and we do have a negative sign here. So that is 20 cents, right? So y equals to 20 with a negative sign. And therefore, we get our y-intercept as a coordinate point 0 minus 20. Does make sense to you? So decimals was not all that bad. So don't be really afraid of it. You could actually easily deal with it. This seems to be a simpler solution than what we had earlier. Anyway, let's continue. Now we'll find slope. To find slope, we'll write the equation of line in the form y equals to mx plus b. That is, isolate y. So in the given equation, let me rewrite the equation first. 0.25x minus 0.05y equals to 1. So we can write this as 0.25x minus 1 equals to 0.05y. Now we can divide by 0.05. So we get 0.25 divided by 0.05 minus 1 over, x is here, minus 1 over 0.05 equals to y. So y is equal to what? Now that is quarter divided by half. That's difficult, right? Okay, let's do it. So we have 0.25 divided by 0.05. So not really half, it is tenths, it's nickels, right? Equals to 5. So we get 5x. So think about 25 dividing by 5. So it's not that bad. So multiplying both by 100 gets rid of decimal. Minus. This is 100 divided by 5, correct? So you should expect 20. 1 divided by 0.05 is 20, right? Not bad. So you could treat decimals easily by multiplying by hundreds or tens. Now from here, you know that is the slope. So we get slope m is equals to 5. So that is the slope for the given equation. And let's check the y-intercept. Yes, y-intercept matches minus 20. So it's a check. When you do it, it's a good check. I hope these steps clearly indicate the process which should be followed to find x and y intercepts and the slope. Once you have that information, try to sketch your graph, right? So if you sketch, what do you expect? Okay, let's do a rough sketch. I'm not making a scale. In the first case, we had y-intercept, that's the equation. 2x minus 18. That means minus 18 is your y-intercept, slope is 2. So in the first case, okay, let me do it here. In the first case, we get a graph which is actually minus 18 is way below. Okay, let's do like this. So it is a very, very approximate graph. What we find here is x-intercept of 9, y-intercept of minus 18, and the slope of 2. So the graph will be kind of like this. Is it okay? Where this point will be minus 18 and this point will be 9 arrows. Do you see that? X and y. So with the x-intercepts, it's very easy to sketch the graph. The other graph here will be, let me use this space. Y-intercept is minus 20, x-intercept is 4. So we'll kind of like here. So it is again a very steep graph, and the slope is also positive 5. So it's a very, very steep graph, kind of like this. Where this is the y-intercept of minus 20, and that's the x-intercept of 4. Do you see that? So those are the two graphs for the given situation. I hope you understand and appreciate it. Thanks for watching my video. Feel free to post questions, share them with your friends, and if you like, that'll be great. Thank you.